You mentioned about VC money getting pumped. That is not the right barometer for success. The right barometer is adoption, and there is a big gap between money pumped in and adoption happening on the ground. So, what does it mean if adoption is not happening? Where is that money going? Um, is it just vanishing? Are they losing capital? Are the startups closing down? What's happening there?
Well, I think you have to also, let's be honest about the nature of venture. And again, I'm a huge fan. Many great friends in the world of venture, but there's a lot of venture firms that make their money on fees and on the raise. So their goal though also needs to be to get the money out, right? So you don't make fees. Yeah, you don't make fees on what you raise, you make fees on what you deploy. Now, I'm not saying anything disparaging. It's just, there's a lot of venture firms that celebrate the size of what they've raised. I don't think that's a good barometer either. What I prefer to follow, keep my attention on is where's the smart money going? And there's some great venture firms in our industry that you look at their portfolio, you look at their track record, and when I put things in front of them, just trying to help out the industry, and I'll put a founder's deck in front of a venture firm, and the feedback that I get and the thoughtfulness that goes into it, it's really enlightening to understand where the smart money's going. So I think, again, less of an emphasis on how much is being raised and how much is being deployed is where's the smart money going. And I think, there's a dozen, if not 24 great investment firms in our industry that I'm very, very close to.
Yeah, you mentioned not to disparage anybody, but do you want to highlight the ones that you think are doing a great job as a venture fund?
I'm going to get in trouble because I'm going to forget so many, Ravi, but oh my gosh, there's so many thoughtful ones. And again,
you don't have to name everybody, just a couple.
Sure. But I think, again, what I'm looking for is the success of their portfolio. How do you measure that? Well, you could clearly just measure that on exits. What kind of exits have they have? Remember, venture, typically in an industry like ours, that's a 10-year horizon. And whether it's 80 or 90%, a lot of the investments fail. That's just the nature of venture as a whole. In this industry, though, I think there are some firms that have demonstrated extraordinary performance, whether it's Third Sphere on climate, Camber Creek, Navitas, Building Ventures in Europe, AO Proptech, Pi Labs, Concrete, JLL Spark, CBRE is a great investor. My gosh, Modern Ventures is a great one. Alpaca is a great one. Second Century Ventures is another great one. I'm going to get in trouble because I'm going to forget a bunch, but just again, go to their websites, look at their portfolio. And these are some great companies that are in there that have either exited or are scaling and leading the way. Not to say that there's not pain in there too.
Exactly.
But, those are the ones that I'm particularly fond of, that I work most closely with.
Just trying to understand, because they cannot have a secret sauce where they succeed in every startup that they've invested in. It's a portfolio, and then there are a few who are going to give an extraordinary results. And then there'll be a few who are going to fail, right? So for you, a good venture is the one that has a few success stories every year of exits, right? Is that how it is?
Yeah, Ravi, and also I think a great focus. Like you take a company like a firm like RET Ventures that John Helm runs and his wonderful team. Their niche is rent tech. In that category. They're incredible investors with a great portfolio, and they understand rent tech as well as anybody. You take a firm like Building Ventures or Third Sphere, very, very comfortable on the hardware side of the business, doing great investments there. Or Camber Creek, which has made some incredibly smart bets, and Navitas is another one. If you just, again, they have focus. their due diligence is really exhausting in a good way,
Mm,
which tells you that they're really being incredibly thoughtful. And then the other thing I look at is their LP network. So who are
mm,
their investors
got it.
is very, very important as well.
Right. Just a basic question that when you say a VC has a sectoral focus, what does that focus help in help in making their founders succeed by backing them up with resources and support network and stuff like that? Is that how is that why a sectoral focus is important?
Yeah, that's right, Robbie. I think again, knowing that adoption is so hard to come by, so you really want to take a look at who their LP network is. But it's not, this is again, you got to, if you're a startup, what you really want to be careful about is just is understanding which venture firms are just throwing logos against the wall and which ones really have team members whose job it is to help the startups get adoption within their LP network. And so that's really, really important to look for. So it's not just who their LPs are, but what do they do specifically to help drive adoption on behalf of their portfolio companies. And the ones that I mentioned do a phenomenal job in that regard.